Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast that recognizes the Macho Man and Lord Randy be praised. I'm Chris Daly, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Mr. Brian Shutter. Brian, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I'm super stoked to talk to you. I've been following you guys for a long time, and I'm excited to finally be able to get out there and help you guys help spread the good word.
Hell yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, man. All right, so usually what I like to do on these is I like to kick things off with a bit of an icebreaker question. So
Sure.
today's icebreaker is what task or chore is your least favorite one to do?
I would say dishes, definitely washing dishes.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's
Yeah,
that's what I have kids for.
yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, mine are still a little too little, I guess, right? So
Fair.
they're yeah, like 6 and 3. So
Okay, that's fair.
yeah, can't really wash the dishes yet, unfortunately. But we do have a dishwasher. But I mean, it all harkens back to being a kid, and it was like
Yeah,
Sunday after Sunday dinner. Me and my sister had to wash and put dry and put away, and it was like the worst. That was like the one chore I had, but I
you're
can't
lucky,
stand it.
man. A Sunday after dinner between me and my sisters and my brother, it was, we took turns and it was just the one of you had to wash six people's worth of dishes and it
Mm,
was a nightmare, dude.
brutal.
So I'm
Yeah.
with you. But I think for my least favorite chore, I think I would either say the one I did today, which is mowing the lawn,
Mm.
or in the wintertime shoveling snow. Man, the worst.
Yeah. So the I can't talk today. Holy crap! The wow. So the lawn here isn't too crazy. We moved into this, like, bought a house like a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
it's the lawn isn't like insane, but we got like 12 feet of snow the other winter. Like
Woof.
I'm up by Canada, about 20 miles away from the border, but like it's on Lake Erie kind of. So we get like the lake effect and just being in a ridiculous area, like off of Alexandria Bay, and the St. Lawrence Seaway, if you will, is right
Oh,
there.
wow.
So like we're in this weird vortex of that we get like insane amounts of snow, even for like even the region. Like we're like what we always get a ton.
You
So
get
like
in all directions.
yeah, hammered. We were like snowed in for 3 days straight over Christmas a couple Christmases ago. I just could not couldn't I went outside, the snow was like up to my chest. Like I could not function. So but I have like a gnarly snowblower that just like rips through it. Cause I mean you gotta stay on top of it too, or else you're not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Yeah, I kind of want to have a snowblower, but my driveway is weird because like it has this level spot, but then toward the end it kind of has an angle where it dips down, and I have a hard time shoveling that without falling on my ass. I couldn't even imagine trying to manhandle a snowblower up that hill, man.
We ours is on a hill too, and there's like a weird spot where there's like a bump that gets really steep, and I've slipped down it actually. But like snowboard, it's like it's got like the power, like it moves on its own, like you
Oh,
pull the
nice.
throttle down.
Like
So like
self-propelled.
yeah, self-propelled. Thank
Right
you.
on.
So like that actually helps like with the stability of it all too. So like I don't really fear it anymore, I would say.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, the nice chore dad questions off the rip. I dig it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to get some dad jokes in every once in a while,
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure. All right, man. So, the concept of the show, Fueled by Weird, all your hobbies, your interests, they come together to make you the kind of person you are. So, what's some of the stuff that you're into?
Ooh, so the short list definitely like Italian post-apocalyptic horror or post-apocalyptic movies, Italian horror movies, Monster or Masters Universe, Sega Genesis, Judge Dredd, RoboCop. It's just a short little, pretty much anything from like the 80s, 90s that was like pretty cool. I'm definitely into.
That's awesome. Speaking of post-apocalyptic, I'm a big fan of that myself, and I just started for the very first time, just started watching the Mad Max movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first time ever. And it's been an adventure for sure.
Very nice. Yeah, that's usually like the gateway. What? So then, how'd you get into without Mad Max? What was your like gateway movie?
for post-apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know if I really had a gateway, just the kind of vibe and just the I don't know what it is about just the genre is just very interesting to me. And
Right.
what I've been kind of trying to do is, my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and there's been a bunch of movies that he really liked that I never really got the chance to watch, or just for whatever reason just didn't. So I've been trying to go through and watching some of those, and that's kind of where I've landed right now is Mad Max. Because not only that, I also kind of want to watch the two new ones, and I've never seen them ever. And everyone says you can watch, they kind of stand alone on their own. They don't tie together. But I
Right.
thought, if I'm gonna watch them, I might as well watch them all. Why not?
Yeah. Might as
So
well go full gusto, definitely.
yeah, and it's definitely been an adventure for sure. Those are
Nice.
some wild movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's awesome. All right, man. So, I want to kind of talk to you about your project, but I want to kind of back up a little bit
Yeah.
and I want to talk about what it was initially that got you interested in becoming a writer in the first place.
So it was we were playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and then
Uh-huh.
we played like hardcore, like got to 10th level, and then one day I'm just like I'm done. Like I'm tired of this game. Like there's nothing wrong with like D&D or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like got the DM fatigue, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna write my own role playing game, and it's gonna be all He-Man. Everybody's gonna be like have a sword of power,
That's
and then
awesome.
it's like then you try to realize like, well, you can't really like do that, right? So like can't have like a party of all like power sword wielding maniacs, because just like the game falls apart like
Yeah.
fundamentally. So it's like, okay, well, we did have man at arms, so we could do like a man at arms class kind of. There's like the sorceress, so then kind of like the whole idea stemmed out of that. And then I don't know, just always been huge into like, far flung post apocalyptic, in the far future of 1999. Like I just love that concept. So like that had to go in it. Like I had to do
Yeah.
it post apocalyptic, and I love Judge Dredd. So there's like the mega cities, and it's just pretty much like just like a Jackson Pollock painting, right? Just like I threw everything like in the kitchen sink at it, and then like whatever stuck kind of like shaped the game and turned it into what it is.
Right on. So basically it's kind of the whole, if you don't find in the world what you want, you just make it yourself.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So like
Awesome.
that's kind of the cool concept. I wanted to make a game like a game setting slash world that like you could do whatever you wanted. So like there's like the wastelands, like the neon wastelands, that you could do a Mad Max style game there, or there's like ruins underneath like the world that you could do like a kind
Yeah.
of fantasy setting. And then there's the mega cities you could do like urban, kind of like cyberpunky kind of games if you wanted. So it's all there. You could just take what you want out of it.
That's so awesome. Yeah, that's a piece of advice that I've found a lot of creators, that I've talked to have given is, if there's something that you want that doesn't exist, just go out and make it, because why
Yeah,
not? That's
exactly.
awesome. That's super cool. So, I noticed the hat and, I'm kind of familiar with what you guys do. And for the people who don't know, let's talk a little bit about what the Neon Warlords or the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland are, kind of where the idea came from, how it came to be. Like, let's kind of talk a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, so Neon Lords of Toxic Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic tabletop role-playing game where like my elevator pitch is it's Judge Dredd, RoboCop meets Guar and the Toxic Avenger. And then
Okay.
so it's just like it's role-playing game amped to 11. So it's over the top, like violence to the point of silliness, right?
Yeah,
Like Guar, definitely. Like it doesn't take itself seriously, and it's out to have a good time with it.
very cool. So where, you know, just you kind of just took a hodgepodge of all the different things you were into and kind of just rolled it into one, and that's where the Neon Lords came from.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's just weird because I always lean towards like the post-apocalyptic kind of like sci-fi, sci-fi tech with sorcery kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it just leaned into it. I just like just kind of went with what I like, and then it just kind of melded and molded into what it is now.
That's cool. And now that we've been thinking about it, or I've been thinking about it a little bit, I think my kind of gateway into post-apocalyptic, and I'm not really sure how the two connected for me, but for a long time, I've been a fan of steampunk. Um,
Right.
and I'm a super big fan of steampunk, and I wonder if maybe that's how I kind of got mixed in, is because for some reason the two in my weird twisted up nerd brain, the two kind of go hand in hand, kind of, sort of.
I could see that. Why not? Right? Like so,
Yeah.
like a apocalyptic event like sets the technology back to Steam era, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that. I mean, steampunk probably there's probably some post-apocalyptic steampunk for sure.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Maybe that's how. So, I want to talk a little bit about now about your new project that's out, the Deities and Demi-Bros and the Deadly Dudes Toxic Creeps. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so right now, backer kit, we have the like you said, the Deities and Demi-Bros and Deadly Dudes Toxic Creep books. So Deities is like Randy Macho Man Randy Savage is the Zeus of the world, and for the longest
Oh,
time, he
so
was the
awesome.
only wrestle god that was in
Yeah.
existence because unbeknownst to everyone else, he locked all of the other wrestling pantheon in the hell cell, and then like because he has the madness, he forgot about him. But then they've broken out, and now the world is flooded again with all of the wrestling pantheon of gods. So each so now all the gods are, so they're not statted like you could kill them, but they're statted as like what their cults look like. Who are they like friends and foes with? Like what power moves do they grant like their followers, and like what's their cults look like and all that kind of stuff. And then it brings in like like more wrestling rules, like sanctioned events and like back alley brawls and tag team rules, and like a couple new classes that kind of lean more heavy. So there's the Holy Smiter is the class that's kind of like the paladin cleric right now, but then now we're doing like a full on, it's a muscle priest, so they're more like I guess that's a word, leaning. And there's a wasteland wrestler class that they pray on the gods as well, pray to the gods rather, to grant them special moves in the ring. And then the luchador class, of course, because if you're gonna do wrestling rules, you got to have a luchador rules. And then there is the Savage Sisters of Elizabeth class that just they unlocked somewhere. They're like nuns with guns, and like if you're into 40K at all, they're like the battle sisters.
Okay.
So oh yeah, so that's Deities and Demi-Bros, and and then that's just the wrestling side. Then there's the Chaos Gods, and then like the primordial, like a couple primordial gods. Like there's a bunch of other gods too that have the same treatment. They have like their like cool weapons that they can bestow and all their abilities and cults and followers and all that. And then Deadly Dudes Toxic Creeps is an expanded monster manual. So the core book has 101 ish monsters in the back of it that you can use, and this is just like 100-ish, probably 125 more monsters to add to it, with like encounter tables, because people really wanted to be like, well, if I'm in the carnage jungles, like the like what would I encounter? So I have tables for every environment, so you can like just roll it up and find out like what's gonna kill your characters.
That's so awesome. And
Oh,
I
thanks.
I remember now that, I kind of been a fan, like I had mentioned before, I've been a fan of you guys for a long time, and I've just kind of just been following at a distance. I've been like kind of too intimidated or scared to kind of jump in and interact with you guys because that's just kind of how I am as a person, just a weird introverted nerd who's afraid to reach out and talk to people that I think might be really cool to be friends with. But once I started seeing you guys talk about Lord Randy, I was like, is that Randy Savage? And I think you were like, yeah, man. And Randy Savage, I'm a big wrestling nerd, and Randy
Oh,
Savage,
perfect.
he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So
Yeah.
the fact this new book has him as a Zeus type character is just fantastic.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, pretty much. So it's pretty much so the Neon Wars of 1992 is kind of what stems like the catalyst for everything. So like the WWF roster of 92 is had every wrestler I really wanted.
Yeah.
Like so because it's like the first year Razor Ramon wrestled. So you got him, and then you even got Andre the Giant still wrestling at 92. and you got Ric Flair's there in '92. Like, who else was another one I was surprised? I mean, like even like Superfly Jimmy Snuka is still wrestling in '92 for the WWF for some reason, even though he's like old as dirt by that time. And so you just got all these like great legends, and obviously like Hogan's there and stuff. But like
Yeah.
you got all these great legends, and I was like, oh, it's perfect. And then like I added some gorgeous ladies of wrestling because like in
Oh, that's
92
cool. That's
92 there's not many women wrestlers,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
want there was pretty much Elizabeth and Sherry, right? That was like it.
Yeah.
So I brought in some of them. I can't, there's a ton. There's like 33 or 35 wrestling gods. So I'd have to go. That's It's gonna be a huge book.
That's cool. Okay, so just kind of to back up a little bit for people who don't know, so the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland is basically just like the whole overarching game, like essentially compared to D&D. And then we've got the Deities and Demi-Bros and the Deadly Dudes, Toxic Creeps. Those are just like expansion books, basically.
Yeah. So the core rules originally came out. First printing was 2020, I think I would say.
Okay.
And then we did a second printing, which was Total Carnage edition of the book. And then now this backer kit campaign has the third printing because I'm running very low on copies, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Um, and so you could get that in there too. So there's like a neon newbie, I believe, like stretch goal or not stretch goal, like a pledge is what they're called, which
Yeah.
you can get the core book, the two new books. So then like you're like off the rip, got the brand new stuff, you're ready to go. Or
Okay.
you could just get or there's like give me the core. You could just get the core book if you wanted to.
Okay. That was the next thing I was going to ask is because, that's one thing I like about, I've not been involved in a lot of backer kits, but I understand they're very similar to Kickstarter, where the Kickstarters that interest me is, someone comes out with, like let's say the campaign you guys have now, where you've got the brand new stuff, but as a new fan, you know, you kind of want to go back and see, where everything started, where it came from, and you want to be able to have like I guess what they call it is a catch-up tier. And so that's very
Mm-hmm.
cool that you guys offer that. So that's very cool.
Yeah, there's that, and then you can add on all the other expansions that we've done in the past as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Usually with campaigns like this, there are stretch goals that are offered. Do you guys have stretch goals that you're offering for yours?
Oh yeah, there's tons of stretch goals. I gotta pull up the thing just so I know what I'm gonna let me get down to stretch goals. So stretch. Oh, retch goals we call them.
Stretch goals. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
perfect.
So at 10K unlocked, obviously, we funded at 10K. 12K was tag team rules got added. 15K was in the back of Deadly Dudes, Toxic Creeps. There's going to be another adventure added to the back. It's like so the Deadly Dudes, Toxic Creeps kind of motif is like a Goosebumps book.
Okay,
So like it's like Shiver Pimples is like the fake like bootleg version, and I
nice.
think it's like the purple ooze stalks at midnight. I think is the adventure, and then 17K unlocked glow in the dark Pog Slammers. 20K unlocks series 3 of the Pogs. Like we unlocked the third series of Pogs. There's two prior. The first, which I have, I'm doing a reprint of the first two Pog series because there's a lot of people that never we didn't know who we were back then, so they can't get their hands on the first series Pog. So I'm doing a reprint of them in series 2 as well. So
Very
you
cool.
can catch up on the Pogs as well. And then 25K. So we are currently sitting at like 22K right now. So
Yeah,
25K is
last I saw you guys were freaking killing it.
oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we're at 22K now and we're about to round out to the 25K. I just announced that we're doing a color activity book at 25K.
That's awesome.
No. Like with like, like coloring pages and word finds and mazes and all that stuff you would find in like the old school coloring books.
That's so rad. And yeah, Pogs, that brings me back to my childhood, man.
I love them. I'm still obsessed with them. Like it's like the coolest 10 minutes of your life. was
Yeah.
when Pogs were popular. It was like,
And I've got, we were talking about kids earlier. I have a 17-year-old and an almost 9-year-old, and I try to tell them, and they're like, I don't get it. I'm like,
yeah,
these were so cool though. Like, why? I'm like, well, because you could do this and this, like, anyway. And I was like,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay, cool, whatever.
Is it electronic? No, then I
Yeah,
don't care, right? Like,
exactly.
which
Exactly.
like I know, like I always like because like everyone's always like, oh well, these kids and screens and it's like yeah, but that's the future though, right?
Yeah,
Like they said the same thing with Nintendo, right? Like
yep,
it's just like it is what it is. Like your kids aren't gonna like toys as much as you like them.
that's true.
It's
I mean,
just how it
you
is.
might get lucky every once in a while and get a thing or two here or there that kind of resonate. Like my oldest daughter, I mean, this isn't really a toy, but my oldest daughter, well, so I'm the only guy in the house and I watch wrestling pretty religiously, and no one else in my house likes wrestling. But during COVID, um, my daughter was really into like Day of the Dead, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
well, there's this wrestler who kind of paints her face Day of the Dead, and I showed her that, and she loved that, and then it kind of just expanded from there, where she's kind of getting a little bit into some of the wrestling. Not everybody, but she's definitely got an expanded, few that she likes. So
Oh,
it's kind of cool when every once in a while you get that thing that hits that you can resonate with your kids, at least for a little bit. It doesn't
right.
doesn't necessarily happen for a long-term thing, but if you can get it to hit for a little bit, it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah. I mean I have like Hero Quest, like the the old game from
Oh my God, that's awesome.
so like that was my gateway into gaming was like Hero
That,
Quest in second grade.
that's
I
so
was like
cool.
obsessed with it. So then and in my 20s, like an idiot, I sold the two copies I had. I don't know why, right? And then so like and then of course nostalgia hit like a while back. I was like, I'll just rebuy it, right? It was like $300. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna rebuy it. And then
Yeah,
They redid Hero Quest. So then I bought it, I backed it on Hasbro Pulse because they have to have their own backer kit for some reason, or
yeah,
Kickstarter rather. That's a whole nother story. But and then now I have every single expansion and I'm up to date. But then the kids really like it, kind of. Like I've played a little bit here and there, like a solo by myself with it, and then they kind of play a little. But I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna last. Like
yeah. You just got to take advantage of it while you can.
yeah, yep,
Especially with my oldest daughter, who is still kind of into wrestling a little bit, and I think she's kind of getting to the point where she's kind of phasing out of it a little bit, which is okay. They kind
right,
of get their own interests, and which is cool. But
yep.
it's a little bit sad when they don't want to spend time with you anymore, just because they're too old and they're too cool to spend time with you.
I know. I'm dreading those days.
It's coming before you know it. It's crazy how
I
quick.
know. I'm definitely enjoy it every time I get for sure.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's been awesome.
Yeah, I've been trying to get them into D&D too, but they just kind of are convinced that, the stereotypical, D&D is medieval and medieval doesn't interest me at all. And I'm like, but there's so much more to it than that.
I know. Yeah, that's crazy.
You
Yeah,
really
like
can literally do anything.
yeah, you can. I'm not like a huge like fantasy fan, so like
Yeah.
I don't mind D&D. Everyone, that's fine. But like I just like so many other non fantasy like role playing games that
Yeah.
it's not even. There's so many good ones too. So it's like
Yeah, I mean, I tried telling my wife, who is kind of interested, but she doesn't really do the medieval thing. And I'm like, well, I've got some favorite podcasters they also do another podcast where they do live play D&D. But I'm like, listen, like they've only done like one that was medieval type. They've got one that was done in like with cryptids and, creatures in the forest. And they do one where they battle Dracula, and they do one where they go to a place called the Dadlands, where all the people in the lands are just dads, and they're all just different. All the characters are different stereotypical dads. So it's a whole, like, you could do literally anything,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what's great about it.
yeah. That's the best part. See, that's like I was talking to somebody the other day, like how that was like the appeal of role playing games, like when we were kids, was because you could do what like a Nintendo or a computer can't.
Yeah,
Like you have like free agency to do whatever you want, and it's still
yeah,
like quantified and gameable. And that was always the big appeal to me, was just the fact that it's like, well, I'm not on like a rail, it's not like Mario where he goes right and jumps.
yeah.
Which I do love video games still. Like I'm a huge,
Yeah,
huge, massive video game fan.
yeah.
So like I hate to like even talk crap about video games too, but it's different. It's just
It is different.
it just satisfies in a different way. Like, yeah, I mean, I love to play video games, just not think about it, right? But like, it just hits different. That's all.
It itches that other part of your brain.
Yep, exactly.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have any more? So let me back up. So, are there more stretch goals if you guys keep expanding past your goal? I don't want to spoil anything because I know usually, you like to keep that for, when you hit a certain spot, but do you have a bunch more stretch goals planned out if the number keeps ticking up higher?
Yeah, so 25 and then 30, and then that's there's no way we'll break 30, I think, but I have a 41 and 50K at the top. I always put the ultimate bro goal, which I always write that for every time at the top.
Yeah,
So maybe someday we'll strike gold and unlock it, but which is, very I'm very happy with where we're at, like as long as I'm funding, that's all I care about.
that's true.
Like
Always important.
yeah. So it's like, and then this is just icing on the top of the cake. Like I get to make cool stuff with all the extra money.
Heck yeah, man. That's always a plus.
Yeah.
Plus, speaking of other cool stuff, you guys just recently made an announcement that you guys had another member added to your crew. You gonna talk about that too?
Yeah. So Hunter Jackson from Guar fame, he was like the original creator of the costumes, characters,
Yep.
props, and he is on the Neon Lords crew. For Deities and Demi-Bros, he's doing a lot of the art. I don't want to keep saying a lot because like the Chris Freeman, the guy who did the cover for Deities Demi-Bros, is doing all the wrestling gods, and then Hunter's pretty much gonna pick up the other gods. Even though I have another guy doing some of the chaos stuff, but so yeah, Hunter from Guar in wrestling too. Like he's like huge, he's a huge wrestler now. He we're doing there's like a board game skirmish sports thing we're doing called Roller Brawl with Matt McGuire from Guar. He's doing all the art for it, so it's kind of like a Guar aligned board game that we got coming out probably next year ish, sometime after this one's done. So this Kickstarter or can't whatever backer kit campaign. Like it's
Yeah,
Kickstarter's like the band aid, of it's like the catch all. It's like Scotch tape, right? It's like
yeah,
the name everyone says for crowdfunding. So
yeah.
this crowdfunding campaign, and then once this one's done, shipped out, fulfilled, then the next one's Roller Brawl.
That's awesome. And yeah, I
Yes.
just I just recently, within the last couple of years, watched the Gore documentary that came out, and so yeah, that's how I got my first introduction to Hunter Jackson. So when you
Oh,
when you were like,
cool.
"Hey, he's on this campaign," I'm like, "Dude, that's so cool."
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's been pretty cool. Yeah. So we were doing the thing with Roller Brawl with War and Matt was like, hey, we I like there's a lot of art involved. Like, is it cool if I bring Hunter on and like Saul, the guy who does all the sculpting and the minis and everything?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, obviously, like we're not gonna say no.
Right?
And then just through that, yeah. So then just through that, I was like, hey Hunter, like interested in doing any other work on like these books too? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So
Ah,
worked out.
that's so sick, dude. That's so
Oh,
cool.
thanks.
So awesome
Yeah.
for you.
It's wild. Like every week we have like this huge meeting, and then it's just like, man, like Matt is at Slave Pit, like you see like all the props and everything behind him, and you're just
Oh
like,
my God.
well, there's the world maggot, like just up in the rafters right there. Yep, okay, this is
That
happening. It's just mind blowing every time.
yeah, that's got to be so surreal, dude.
It is. It's wild too because you always you take everything for granted too with it, right? It's like,
Yeah,
well, like I'm not like this big. I need to get bigger. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's like, well, you need to sit back also and be like, look at how like where I'm at too,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like take it in and be like, yes, like I've made it this far. Like, yeah, obviously, like there's a lot of people that still don't know who we are and like what we do and all that stuff, but it'll happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Just
definitely don't
one.
discount yourself. I mean, it's good to, have goals about where you need to go, but you also definitely got to remember like, hey, this is where we were and this is where we are now. This is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like got to sit back and be like, okay, like this time last year, where were we, right? Like where
Yeah,
was I last year at this time? Like way, way, way different than I am now. So like,
yeah, for sure.
then maybe in next year is going to be way different, hopefully, right?
Yeah. definitely.
Like it's just one fan at a time. That's all I try
Yeah,
to do.
for sure.
Like hang out with the fans, like answer any questions and try to give them good product and just have some fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to the board game, do you guys have what else do you guys have coming, down the pike after this campaign that you can
Uh
talk about?
no, I can talk about anything really. There's just me pretty much. So I do all the writing, the layout. The only thing I don't do is like you have to have someone edit your stuff because you can't edit yourself. It's
Sure.
impossible. So I
Yeah.
have Ed Murphy. He's my editor. So I like to put Eddie Murphy in the books as his credits because
That's
I wanted
awesome.
to, and I was like, oh, do you think you'd be cool to do it? And he's like, yeah, do it. It's funny. So I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and then artists like Mustafa, he was the main artist for a long time, and then I kind of just expanded out to give some other people some stuff because Chris like he's a phenomenal artist and he's just underused I think in the industry. So he did the Deities Demi-Bros cover and the third printing cover, and Lucas like he's been from the beginning. He did the original logo. He was there from the beginning, and he's like the best. He did the Deadly Dudes Toxic Group cover. So just kind of expanding out from there, and then Saul is like the minis guy. I always just use Saul to sculpt the minis. I know I'm getting to the question. I promise.
Oh, you're good.
Just,
You're good.
no, so then
Whatever.
like yeah, so it's just me, right? So like it
Yeah.
could be up in the air because like I want to do a. So I did a book called Space Bulk that it's like so they're like interstellar 18 wheelers that hit like a chaos warp and then like disappear forever and come back all amalgamated with other ships and other trucks and planets and stuff. They're these giant like derelict like floating things in space. So I did a settings book about those to where you can make your own space bulks and stuff. It's like you play 40K at all? Are you familiar with the 40K universe?
I've not played myself. I've watched other people play, but I've never actually played myself.
Do you know what a space Hulk is in 40K?
I do not.
Okay, so they're derelict spaceships that
Okay.
like are floating around with like ancient tech on them and stuff, and they get infested with aliens. So then it's my joke play on them, space bulks.
Okay.
So I did that book. That's like so it's like each section has its own little thing, and then I did a book called Warp Shine Runners, which is like cannibalistic humanoid hillbilly, like hills have eyes, kind of like a wild, weird west setting.
Okay.
And I really like the setting idea book. So that one each there
Yeah.
was 37 locations in this Warp Shine Runners. It's called Beggar's Ridge. It's this giant like abandoned mining town that has like everything, right? It's like 37 locations, but each location has a spread in the book and it just has a ton of information for that one spot. And I really like that idea. And I wanted to expand it out to like the next one I want to do is kind of like a pirate themed, like Pirates of Dark Water.
Oh, dude, that's so
Great show.
sick. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And then like so then each island would have like a spread and like what you can do on that island and like what's like open water and like pirate classes and pirate themed like bad guys and stuff. So that's like it's like mutant mutiny terror on the doom seas or something was kind of the book. So like I really want to expand on that. Um but who knows if I'll even get to it. And then so after rollerball that it's pretty much open in the air. Like I want to do that and then like vehicles. Like I don't have like I never did vehicles because like I don't know, I always felt like it was done to death, right? So every post-apocalyptic like Mad Max, like they all have vehicles, all have vehicle
Yeah.
rules. So I kind of put it off forever. People want it, so like it's like the vehicle rules and vehicle books got to happen. Because I mean, I like them too, like it's about
Yeah.
time to do that. So that's on the list. Um, some more like just like standalone adventures, like coming down the pipeline, and then yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It's weird. I don't like I get fixated on like one thing, right? So it's like I gotta write this book. This is like what I gotta do. Like I had no plans of deities and demi-bros. Like I was trying to like that was supposed to be the second book to ever come out. So that's like 3 or 4 years old, like in the pipeline now.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, I'm gonna do it now. So then I like sprung into action and got it done. Like I had like really it wasn't on the schedule to even be doing it, but I have it like 95% done. So you might as well just put it out there, right?
For sure.
So who knows? I got like probably like 200 book ideas. So it could be anything that pops up. It's just whatever is like I'm obsessed with at the time.
Just whatever the next hyperfixation is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Exactly.
Right on. Dude, I love Pirates so much that and Pirates of Dark Water is a show that does not get talked about enough. I almost thought that I was the only one that knew about it because nobody
Yeah.
said anything about it. But man,
Yeah.
that show was so good. But yeah,
Yeah. It's just that great time. The Conan the Adventurer cartoon was kind of about that same time. Had that same feel to it.
yeah, yeah. I have a very deep love of pirates. So
Oh,
I'm very, very
perfect.
excited there.
Very nice.
And so all of these just take place in the Neon Lord's world, right?
Yeah, so the main planet is Earth, URTH. And then where America it was at one point is called Neoterra XX. So like that's like where the president of Detroit Prime, he like kind of controls that portion of the world. And then from there, that's where I want to expand out to show that hey, like it's not just Neoterra, like Earth is like the whole planet and there's like still other things going on. And
That's
then
awesome.
expand out and yeah, into the other regions of the planet and like into the planet because like a hollow Earth is always a cool
Yeah,
concept. And then like space, like there's with the space bulk, there's like introduced like the Space Federation into it, so they like labeled Earth as like a bogus planet, so they kind of like don't deal with it. Like we're out in the middle of the sticks of space,
yeah.
so they don't really mess with Earth per se, but like definitely want to do some more like Guardians of the Galaxy style adventures and stuff as well.
Sounds perfect. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think so. Like that's what I like about like I like galaxy level galactic Marvel. And then I also, like dig like the street level like Spider-Man and stuff, like Punisher, like
Yeah.
right. So like and it's the best of both worlds. Like so like I kind of envision it as like two not two separate lines that obviously have the same rules and work together. But
Yeah.
if you like the cosmic stuff, then but there's that. And if you don't like the cosmic stuff and you want to just stick to the planet, like that's available as well.
Which is cool because that way you literally have something for everybody. And it's
Yeah,
kind of like the same thing with D&D. Like if you don't like medieval, you've got all these other different things you can do. But with yours, it's all inclusive in one world. Like, hey, you don't like pirates? Hey, we got this space stuff. If you don't like space, hey, deal with wrestling gods that are escaping from the hell cage, whatever.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome. Plus, and if you're gonna go to space, I guess that means you're gonna have to get that vehicle book done sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Like I have a decent like vehicle like rule set that I really like, and I think it's kind
Yeah.
of fun. But I don't know. It's like hard because it's like
Fair.
okay, so then it's like what do you do, right? Like hull points, like like it's the same. It's I feel like it's been beat to death. I really want to crack it and like do something different with it. So it's kind of like on the always on the back burner.
That's fair. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question I want to ask is kind of a two-part question that kind of give you a chance to promote yourself because I like to let people promote themselves before they go. So the first question I want to ask is and I'm going to use myself as an example. So when I was a kid, back in high school, I played D&D quite a bit. It's been a super long stretch since I've been into a good game of D&D. And part of that is because, at least in my area, everybody wants to play, but no one wants to DM.
Right.
So the advice I've been given is if you can't find a DM, you should DM yourself.
Hmm.
So what are some bits of advice you'd give to someone who has never been a DM or, a storyteller? What's some advice you'd give to them?
So the big DM advice I would always have is one, don't take it too serious. Two, don't feel like you have to do voices, right? Like I don't really ever role play or do voices.
Yeah.
A little bit here and there, especially if you want to ham it up for a camera.
Sure.
Like take your time, right? Like you don't like I always feel like too, like I did it like early days of like streaming games for strangers, you know? It was like people just jump on and never met them before and it's like I gotta run a game for these people. So I would like rush through all the like the pre-written content and it's like just slow down. Like it's not a race, just like have fun with it, you know, and like if you make a mistake, like everyone makes mistakes, right? So like
Yeah.
then just like check it out, read it, and then biggest thing is just to have fun with it. Like don't like over prepare to where like you're exhausted. Just have your nice cliff notes and you know riff off the players too. Because actually, here's a nice anecdotal story about this.
Okay.
So, Gamehole Con last year, the big my last year big adventure I did was you are a band like the scum dogs around the table you're a band and you just got beaten at the local battle of the bands by a synthwave group who's well versed in the martial arts and come to find out they are in cahoots with like the local cybernetic ninja clan, right?
Okay.
So then you are scorned and mad. So rather than try to, you know, get back at them via the stage, you find out where their hideout is and you go try to beat them up, right? So
Okay.
like that's like the setup because it's a con game. I want to get right into the action. You get a map to their hideout from a sewer worker. He opens the manhole cover. You traverse the sewers to get there, right? So, um, oh yeah, okay. So then, I don't even know why I started doing it, but like I have a big dry erase board and I have it all set up, and then every kill count, I just started ticking them away, just because I don't even know why I was doing it, but everyone around the table was like, oh, like what's going on, you know, like why are you ticking stuff down, why are you ticking stuff down, and I
Yeah.
had no idea. So I was like, crap, what am I going to do, like how am I going to think about this, like what am I going to do with these ticks. And then so there's a part where there's like a huge casualties, like a lot of people get pretty schwacked as they say, and then then the ticks got a lot, like over like 40 and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then at the end the super shredder manager jumps down from the rafters and I was like, oh, that's his hit points right there, right? So then like their fear, like riffing off of the table, like I had no idea what I was gonna do, but I used like what like they were thinking, and I used that to make a decision, you know. So like if someone's like, oh, I bet you down the hall is like something you never thought of or you never would have thought about, right? And you're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do instead. So then and then they think like, oh man, I can't believe I thought, you know, like that's so awesome that like I figured it out. And it's like, yes, you figured it out, but in actuality they were the ones that thought about it in the first place and you just stole it from them,
Yeah.
you know. Like just to kind of, I don't know, that kind of sounds weird to like steal it from them. You're not like necessarily stealing from them, you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, like letting them tell part of the story too.
No, that's cool. You know, you involve your players in the game too. That's kind of a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely involved them. I like to do that for sure because I don't like, you know, if they come up with something better, like obviously like why would I like, ah, well that's stupid, no, it's better than what I
Yeah.
thought of, so
Right?
you might as well do it.
Yeah. So the other part of the question is another thing I'm having trouble with is, you know, a lot of the game. It's hard to join a game that's already in progress, you know, because you know these people know each other. They may
Right.
have been playing for several years or something. So um I know you guys recently started a Discord where you
Yep.
guys run games all the time. So let's maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so every Wednesday on the Neon Lords Discord, we do run a game from I think 7:30 Eastern to about 11, give or take. Sometimes it's like it depends on who's running it. I'm a strict 3 hour game in and out, right? Like you got plenty of time to have fun and yuck it up at the table, but no one's there for like oh like for like 8 hours, right? So
Yeah.
it's like a tight 3 hour game I like to run. Sometimes we go a little over, you know, but I like to have a beginning, a middle, and an end to the story, right? Like that's always kind of annoys me, especially at con games where you'll
Yeah.
see like other tables. They're pushing. They're like, oh well, the DM's like, oh well, you know, time's up. Sorry, you guys didn't make it to the end. It's like, well, that's not fun. You know, like
Yeah.
also time manage, right? Like be like, okay, well, they're at this point, so like I have to nix this part to get them to where there's going to be an actual ending, right? So I
Yeah.
always end the game. So like you come on Wednesday, it's always going to be it's going to be a complete story. Like I say that, and I have a 3-part cliffhanger going right now with some of the people because I was like play testing an adventure, and it didn't really work out like how I kind of wanted it to. So then it kind of like expanded into this other thing, and then everything went off the rails. So like, but it's like a bunch of people I know, so it's not like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I know I'm like completely like going off the
No,
rails.
dude, you're good. You're good.
So but yeah, so like yeah, we run a game every Wednesday, and then like even like pop up like sometimes there's games on there Fridays, and sometimes there's even other non. I opened it up to Friday night. You call it, I guess, right? Friday night, anything goes game. So if it's like, oh, I want to play Shadow Dark. So anybody want to play Shadow Dark this Friday? And then through the sesh, you can set it up and run Shadow Dark on the Neon Lords Discord if you want, or if you're like, hey, like I can't make the Wednesday game. Anybody want to play Friday? Like I'm always down to clown, like
Yeah.
probably jump in on a Friday game.
That's awesome. So, are anybody welcome to join these games? Do you have to have
Yeah,
a certain experience level?
nope, nope. Anybody's welcome for sure. You can just like if you have no experience, like I know Zach, the community manager, he runs
Mhm.
a real good game. Deuterino runs a real good game. Everybody runs they run great games there, and they're very like we're very like beginner friendly too. So like we can take it slow and break it down and be like, even if you've never like, I mean, I've had people I've run games for that never played a role playing game before, and it's like, all right, you just tell me what you want to do. I'll roll the dice for you, and then I'll explain it as we go, and then even go from there. I've even done that. I have like no problems with any difficulty level.
Right on. And anyone can just join the Discord, right? You don't have to be
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
professional.
Nope, nope. You can just join the Discord. Come on over, and it's always popping. I was like, it was like
Yeah.
going off when I was like, it's probably popping right now. I'm just checking. Yeah. So they're just talk. They always talk about stuff. There's always
Yeah. I
something
mean,
going on.
and I can vouch because I'm in the Discord as soon as you guys I'm a big Discord fan, and as soon as you guys are like, hey, we got a Discord, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. Count me in.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a very cool place. So any nerds who are looking for a cool place to hang out, talk D&D,
Yeah. I
definitely.
mean, yeah. Big movie. We talk a lot about movies. I
Yeah.
tend to talk a lot about movies on there.
It's a very cool place. And I'll make sure I put the link in the comments of the show. I'll also
Awesome.
make sure we put the Deities and Demi-Bros and Deadly Dudes, Toxic Creeps link in the bio as well. Or not the bio, link in the show notes. So you guys make sure to go check that out because it ends in a couple weeks, right?
18 days left.
Yeah,
18
so
days. So I believe it'll end on October 3rd.
perfect. And I'll make sure we get this out before then. So people, don't waste your time. Don't waste a second. Go check it out and get yourself some awesome books. All right. So before I let you go, man, let's give you a minute to plug yourself. Tell people where we can find you, where we can keep up to date on all the stuff that's coming from you.
So the big yeah. So other than Deities and Demi-Bros, like in the Discord, there is like a Facebook group that's like Neon Maniacs Clubhouse or Fan Club or something like that. That's a good place to go. But like the a big one is I do a Patreon now. It's Knights of the Slime Table. So like it's I do a bunch of ridiculous things over there. So every month so there's like a free tier, then there's like a dollar tier, then obviously like there's $5 and $10, and I think there's like the $20 one, Slime Lords, which is ridiculous. The people like, but people wanted it, so I did it. It's crazy to think, but I'm very appreciative of all the support. And then so each month on there, so I mean I try to do something at least a day. Every day I try to do something. It's really hard to do because I got like a couple like writing gigs that like I have to finish. Plus, I have my own stuff I have to finish. But like I do try to do something a day, and like a couple things I do is I do trash from the slime table, which is like a newsletter that I do every month, and then I do like a short little 8-page adventure every month, and then I do these they're Neon Quest. It's kind of like Hero Quest ripoff cards that like you can use in the role playing game that eventually like we're gonna make like a funny like rip off Neon Lords Neon Quest game that the cards could be for too. But like for now, it's literally just like items in the game that it's like, oh cool, I got this item that literally has a card for it. So that's like the big things I do over at Patreon. Plus, like I'll do like a hey, I stabbed this guy in the guts random table, right? Like what pours out of the wounds or like the dead body, just what rolled out of the dead body's hand table, right? So just random little stuff, and then there's like sometimes some like dev developer diary notes, kind of not as much as I want to. I don't
Yeah.
know if people would be into that, but like just kind of like what's coming down the pipeline. I write a lot about over there and stuff. I tried to do it on Substack, but I don't know, it didn't feel right. And then I want to do a Patreon forever because it's like a clubhouse, right? You get the little you get I made membership cards, and I made like, oh, I don't have my thing here, like the cipher wheels that like I'm gonna send coded messages.
Oh,
You just
nice.
like have like a man, I don't know what I did with mine, but like cut it out and then like put the bobby pin in it and like spin it.
Yeah.
So I got those printed out that like if you back at the $5 like digital only, you'll get the digital versions of it. But like at the physical level, I'm got the cards made. I sign and hand number all the cards and then hand out the wheel. And then like you get like the newsletter in the mail with the adventure every month and stuff. And then I got pins, got like official member pins made and stuff. So it's like I always wanted to join. I know I'm shooting this answer forever, but
You're good.
I always wanted to join a fan club as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was the advent like way before the internet, right? So it's like you
Right.
had to have your parents like write a check and send it to some like like random like in Chicago or New York, right? It was like,
Yeah, the
oh well,
PO box.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like, and then you wait like 6 to 8 weeks and probably never get anything in the mail, right?
Yeah.
So like it was hard enough to convince your parents to write a check and mail it for you, let alone ever join these things, right? So you always see like the back of a comic book, like a fan, like join the fan club, and it had a list of all the cool stuff you get with the fan club. And I always wanted to do one. It was like killed me. It's like I always thought about it, I always dreamed about it. I guess I don't know. It's weird to say, but I always
I
wanted
get
to
it.
join one.
Yeah.
So like that was the big thing. I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna do a Patreon, I'm gonna do it like a fan club, like
Yeah.
do it up like the right way. So I did a lot of research, looked at like the Masters Universe fan club and like Misfits, like the band the Fiend Club.
Yeah.
They had like a lot of cool stuff in that aspect as well. And and the BK Kids Club was actually a really cool one too to
Yeah.
look at for inspiration for it. So then I having a ball over there just because I'm like having fun making the fan club that like I always wanted to join like a reality.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. Well, yeah, let's all everyone, if you want to keep up to date with him, make sure you go check out the social medias, check out the Patreon, make sure you pop in the Discord and say, "Hey, what's up?" But yeah, there's some cool stuff coming, so make sure you definitely keep your eye out. Now, for me, I want to thank Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force is the official theme song, the Feel by Weird podcast. Check them out on Bandcamp. They're a great band. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook just at Fueled by Weird. You can email me at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. You can find me on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And now you can find us on the Spotlight Media GA app with the rest of the Stay Weird Network shows, the Nerdy Manroom Show with Hassel and Monster, Hassel's Review, and Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. Now, the Stay Weird Network, we're a brand new podcast network dedicated to bringing awesome back to the internet. Check us out on YouTube at Stay Weird Media and check us out on Instagram, the same handle. You can also shoot us an email at stayweirdmedia@gmail.com too. Now, I also want to take a second to thank my official sponsor, the Zone Collectibles in Tifton, Georgia, your one-stop shop for comics, collectibles, and so much more. And if you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is our friend. And remember, kids, life's too short to be normal, so stay weird. Brian, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.